Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Practical Training Professionals right here on YouTube. Today you're joined by myself, Mike Bell, my partner over there,
Ryan Gass.
What's up, Ryan? How you doing, buddy?
Not much, man. It's been a long day.
Yeah, so we weren't able to get Ryan on the recent video we did about the top 5 most friendly states for firearms owners, which you guys can check out by clicking this link right up here. But we did bring him in today to talk about the 5, I guess you could say, least friendly or most unfriendly states for firearms owners. So Ryan, glad to have you, man. I know your opinion means a lot. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, guys. So as you know, there are some states out there in the nation that will literally jump through hoops just to make it harder for you to exercise your rights. Now, I know there's going to be probably some of those states that are going to make this list. You're like, I didn't know it was that bad. Or there's going to be like, yeah, I know that state should have been on the list. But we tried to be as objective as possible using the following metrics to make up our top 5 list, guys. Or you could call it, I guess, the bottom list.
The bottom list.
Right. This is the bottom list, if you will. So with that, here's the metrics we decided to use today, guys.
So we made this list on a few factors, and these are the following factors: the ability to carry a firearm, the ease in which a citizen has the ability to exercise their right to carry a firearm. We also based it on the use of force laws. How well does that state protect its citizens in a self-defense situation? Also, NFA, National Firearms Act, the state's laxness or the further restriction of NFA items such as short-barreled rifles, machine guns, and any other weapons. We also measured this by amount of NFA transfers completed in that state. For reference, before we get into that, Texas has at least 7,574 NFA transfers, and it's legal to own an NFA item in the first place. Whereas in Rhode Island, they have outlawed all NFA items except for Class 3 FFLs.
So with those factors being in place, guys, we pulled our information from the USCCA, which is pretty respectable. We pulled our information from Guns and Ammo. If you guys aren't subscribed to that magazine, I really encourage it. They're doing a lot, and they're still putting out paper print magazines. It's good to have on the coffee table. And we also pulled some information from Gun Laws 101. Again, there'll be links to all this stuff down in the description below, and the NFA tracker. You guys should support that act. They're doing a lot of really good stuff over there.
With those rules being laid out, let's go and get into the top 5 worst states for firearms owners.
Probably not going to surprise you here, but coming in number 5 on the list is New York. On our list of the ability to carry, if you will, they came in 48. When it comes to use of force or any other self-defense laws, all right, they have a duty to retreat. But really what's going on there is they have a duty to retreat when you're outside your residence. Inside your residence, you are allowed to defend yourself and anybody else with reasonable force up to and including deadly force. But you must believe that of course, the deadly force has to be justified. Now, if you're outside your home, you have to, by any means necessary, try to avoid the situation, right? You have a duty to retreat if you think you can safely do so. All right. Now, when it comes to NFA transfers in the state of New York, there's only been 17.
Golly. I know single individuals that have done more than that just in the past year. Not me, though.
Now, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So I'm pretty sure none of you guys are surprised to see New York on the list. When people think gun control, oftentimes they're thinking New York. New York is not an easy state to get a permit in. There's approximately 20 million people in the state of New York, and they've only ever issued 200,000 permits. That's about 0.1%. It's very, very little. It's done at the county level, all right? And none of the county permits are actually recognized in New York City. When it comes to the self-defense laws, as I mentioned, New York does have a duty to retreat. However, the duty to retreat is only outside of your residence. If you're in your residence, you do have a right to defend yourself with reasonable force up to and including deadly force. But while you're outside your residence, you must retreat by all means necessary, as long as you can reasonably believe you could escape without putting yourself in further harm. So you can escape safely. All right. Now, when it comes to the NFA items, there have been 17 NFA transfers in New York. New York has almost complete ban on NFI items. Normal citizens cannot own silencers, machine guns, short barrel rifles, short barrel shotguns, any other weapons, stuff like that. They can't own destructive devices. All right. Now, while there isn't a ban necessarily on any other weapons, virtually any of those weapons do have to be registered, and virtually all any other weapons applications or registration applications have been denied in the state of New York, which takes us to number 4.
Number 4 comes in with Massachusetts. Massachusetts has the 45th ability to carry. Their use of force and stand your ground laws, they do have a duty to retreat, and they have had 107 NFA transfers. Massachusetts is a may-issue state rather than a shall-issue state, with licenses to carry LTCs issued at the local police station or for non-residents through the state police Firearms Records Bureau. Now, concealed carry and open carry is legal in Massachusetts for those individuals who have their LTC or a formally issued valid Class A LTC. Now, the minimum age in Massachusetts to be able to get that is 21 years of age or older, and they're issued to residents and non-residents. Again, they have to have a state-approved firearms training course. Now, getting into the Massachusetts Castle Doctrine state, it does have a duty to retreat outside of your home. Inside your home, it does not have a duty to retreat. Now, Massachusetts also has very, very heavy restrictions. I know you were surprised by that, but they have heavy restrictions on NFA items. Suppressors or silencers, they are limited to officers of the law. There are also destructive devices that are banned at the state or local level. Some counties, though, have complete bans on destructive devices, while others do not. Now, SBSs, short-barreled shotguns, any other weapons, and SBR, short-barreled rifles, are legal as long as they have been approved by the ATF and they follow the black gun laws.
So with that, talking about the Massachusetts stuff, what's ironic is here over the past 2 years, they used to have a Class A, a Class B, and a Class C permit license, if you will. So so they had one for rifles, they had one for handguns, they had one for, and then they had different licenses for different high capacity firearms also. So you had one license for a handgun with 10 or lower round capacity, and then another one for a higher capacity magazine. It was ridiculous. And they finally kind of cleaned that up, and now they're just doing the LTC.
Yeah.
So they still honor like the old Class A's, but the LTC is what they're doing now.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, Massachusetts is one of the weird ones. It's kind of why it made the list. You know, you think of other kind of states like Maryland, DC and stuff that may or may not be on the list. We're getting into that. And it's pretty obvious why they're there, right? But Massachusetts, Massachusetts, it's because of how convoluted it is, the duty to retreat, all that other stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty blue state too.
Oh, absolutely. All right, guys, that coming in number 3 is New Jersey. Again, probably not surprised by that. They're on their ability to carry list. They come in number 49, almost at the very bottom. All right. With their use of force and stand your ground laws, they do have a castle doctrine, and they also have a duty to retreat outside the dwelling, which seems to be pretty common on some of these bluer states. You know, you can defend yourself inside the house. You can't defend yourself outside the house. Now, when it comes to NFA transfers, guess how many there have been, Ryan? One NFA transfers. NFA items are virtually illegal. I mean, they are illegal. They're virtually impossible to get. All right.
When I see these NFA transfer numbers, I'm curious, and we're not going to know this right now, but what was the context for those even being approved? Like, who were those people? Who do they know?
All right, when we get to number 1 on the list, it may kind of influence it a little bit.
Okay.
So as I mentioned, guys, New Jersey has a may issue. New Jersey is a may issue state, and they may issue permits that are issued to residents and non-residents by either the local chief of police or the state police, depending on if you're a resident or a non-resident. Applicants must demonstrate what they call justifiable need, as well as evidence of good character and competency. Now, according to the USCCA website, which is pretty well known and respected, only 0.01% of Garden State residents have a permit to carry. That is virtually nobody.
Yeah.
Right. And that's probably rounded. It's probably like 0.009.
I don't know the exact number, but I think I heard last I checked about a year ago, there's approximately 8,000 active carry licenses and that's not much, you know, so.
Yeah. So, and then we look at the use of force laws, right? So New Jersey has very messy use of force laws. Ultimately, you can defend yourself with any reasonable force to include deadly force in your home. All right. However, again, outside the home, you have a duty to retreat, and it's messy, and there's no judicial precedence or jury instruction that really defines what that use of deadly force is, like you would see in other states.
They're just flying by the seat of their pants.
That's right. And and then when it comes to the NFA stuff, so New Jersey requires that citizens have a state license to own any automatic weapon. And this license is very rarely granted, making NFA items virtually illegal as they're essentially impossible to obtain. Okay. Now, coming in number 2, which may surprise some of you guys. Why isn't this number 1? All right. Coming in number 2 is California. Now, they do come in number 50 on our ability to carry list, all right? And on their use of laws, stand your ground, they have no stand your ground laws codified, right? Meaning there's nothing that says you can or can't stand your ground,
case law.
right? But all they have is, but they do have case history, and they do give deadly force and reasonable force definitions during jury instruction, all right? Now, they also have, according to the NFA transfer stuff, they've had 17 NFA transfers. All right. This state has draconian may issue permitting done at the county level based on indecipherable codes. All right. It's I've talked to some people out in California, and like they live inland in California, like, because California's a massive state and they have their permits there. But if you go anywhere near any kind of city,
LA County,
LA County, Orange County, anything like that, Santa Barbara, you go up to San Francisco, Marin County, Alameda County, anything like that. Yeah. You're not getting a permit.
I forget which county it is, but there was actually a sheriff that was under investigation by the FBI for fraud, because not fraud, but corruption and whatnot, because, essentially that sheriff, I think happened to be a female sheriff. She was essentially selling the permits to only people that she knew, friends and family and stuff. And she got caught up in an investigation with FBI for that. So it's good to see that, at least there's being some accountability when it comes to that type of stuff.
Yeah. So number 4 on our list, right? So again, when it comes to stand your ground laws or castle doctrine laws, there are no laws on the books as we know them, but they do have, like I said, the judicial precedence and the jury instruction. When it comes to, another reason why they're on the list is the whole black weapons ban, right? The mandates registration of an entire classes of formerly legal firearms, and it's growing broader and broader all the time, right? SBRs, SBSs are virtually impossible to own unless they are curios and relics, okay? Now, to become a curio and relic, it has to be greater than 50 years old or designated that way by the ATF, right? Now, and you have to have your curio and relics collector as defined by the ATF. You have to be given that. It's like a class 3, right?
So
FFL.
There's going to be some AR-15s that are going to start showing up as curios and relics.
That's right. Now, they also have a dangerous weapons permit is required for the possession of modern short barrel rifles, shotguns, automatic weapons, stuff like that. All right. Now, these permits. So this may answer your question as to that one that showed up in New Jersey. All right, these dangerous weapons for SBRs and SBSs that are virtually illegal in California, they're only the permits for those are generally only granted to people in the film industry. All right, which kind of makes sense when you think about it, right? So if you're looking at machine guns, SBRs, SBSs, those permits, those NFA items, those permits are granted to people in the film industry, which is kind of racist if you ask me.
Yeah,
right?
I will say, kind of like you said, it kind of makes sense because a lot of the blue states are very friendly to Hollywood. Hollywood's very friendly to the blue states,
right. Yep.
And the blue politics,
the money, they
and the
pump
money.
into it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
right.
exactly.
So, like I said, most any other weapons are banned. All right, the only exceptions are smoothbore firearms and pistols that have a combination smoothbore and rifle barrel.
I wonder if they would approve Alec Baldwin for a suppressor full auto. Too soon?
Yeah, too soon.
So coming in at number 1 is Hawaii.
Woo woo.
The ability to carry in Hawaii is last on the list. All right, they're the absolute worst state in order to be able to get a carry permit. Now, the use of force and stand your ground laws, they do also have a duty to retreat. And again, like New York, they only have 1 NFA transfer. Hawaii uses a very strict may issue permit system. Sufficient indication of urgency must be shown to the chief of police in order to meet the threshold for obtaining a permit. As we well know, Hawaii has issued no permits in the recent years, and permits are only valid within the county in which they were issued. Like much of these other blue states, Hawaii does have no duty to retreat inside of your home, but outside of your home, there is a duty to retreat if it can be done in complete safety, which isn't completely unreasonable. Hawaii does ban certain NFA items from the general public. Banned weapons include, but not limited to, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, pressers, as well as machine guns. Now, AOWs or any other weapons and destructive devices are allowed as long as all the ATF laws are followed and the weapons have been have the correct stamps and paperwork, and they must be registered like handguns and rifles, which is nearly impossible in Hawaii.
That's right. So, yeah, doing a little research to make this list, it's virtually impossible to even own a handgun in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
I had buddies that were stationed there, and I've heard the stories a little bit, but this definitely helps put it in perspective a little bit of how difficult it really is.
They don't issue the permits, right? And then NFA items, it's weird because like you could get the NFA item, but then you have to register it, and registering is impossible.
Yeah.
So like they've been able to find that legal, maneuver, if you will, that makes it harder for them to be able to exercise their rights as Hawaiians.
Yeah.
But they keep voting those people in. So
it's their damn fault. Yep.
So guys, there you have it. That's the list. That's our list. That is the PTP list of the 5 least friendly firearm states, right? So our advice for this one, honestly, come to Maryland. Because even Maryland's better than these 5 on this list.
Yeah.
So
I try to give credit where it's due. Maryland's not as bad as some of the other states and stuff. It's not the best in the world, and I don't like, and there's things I would change, and there were things that I think will change. But Maryland's not as bad as some of these horrible states we found on this list.
That's right. And if you guys want to find more, I'm just going to ask you guys just a couple times here. Head over to the website, PTPGun.com. You can find the blog there. We're going to put a few more of these states on there. We may do the top 10 least friendly states, right? And you can find out where Maryland and DC fit on that. That's for kind of our regional guys, right? But if there's a state that you think maybe should have made the list, let us know. If you live in one of these states and you're like, you know what, you guys got it right, let us know, right? If there's a state that you think maybe shouldn't have been on the list, let us know, guys. And the easiest way to do that is just drop down the comments below and let us know, right? Ryan and I do a really good job of commenting back for anybody that comments on our channel. So we look forward to talking to you guys down there. And if you find value in what we're doing here, guys, the easiest way to support the channel is just to hit that subscribe button. So if you haven't done so already, drop down there and hit that subscribe button, guys, and turn on notifications. And as always, learn, defend, prevail. We're out.
Stay strapped and get clapped.